He's done it all, from serving in Vietnam as a member of the Navy SEALs. Then he goes on to be a professional wrestler, and a very good one, I might add. And he used that to springboard his way to the governor's mansion in Minnesota. I'm not making this up. Now Jesse Ventura is running a television show. He's actually a host of a show that investigates the truth about popular internet myths that most of us have heard and wondered, is that really true? Well, all of that, and his nickname is The Body. So I told you, he is sort of the Forrest Gump of our generation. Jesse, Governor, as I'll still address you.
One thing you left out, though, what people don't realize, I was actually a mayor first.
A mayor before becoming governor.
I was mayor in 1990 till 1990 to 94, Brooklyn Park, the 6th largest city in Minnesota. Then I did something that is so unusual. I went back to the private sector. Imagine that concept.
Yeah, shocking.
Where you actually serve and then go back to what you used to do or go to a new career. I stayed out of politics for 3 years, and then I came back in and ran for
governor. I left out a play-by-play. You did color commentator.
Yeah, 2 years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and 1 year with the Vikings. 3 years total.
Wow.
Which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Do you feel a little bit like you are sort of a modern-day Forrest Gump, that you've just done these widely different things?
I think it's more of a case that I get bored. So politics was perfect because you're only elected to a 4-year shot.
Yeah.
And that's about the time I get bored with it. I'm good for 4 years, and then I got to move to a new job. There's new adventures out there. I haven't embraced the concept of reincarnation yet.
Right.
So I don't want to get to age 75 if I'm lucky enough to live that long and say coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah. So you're
doing it now. I want to try it all.
Stuffing it all into one lifetime.
I mean, I've jumped 34 times out of airplanes.
Wow.
I've dove 212 feet under the water.
Sounds like a movie. It really does. Your life sounds like a movie. Tell us about this new show.
Well,
what do you do?
I'm the host, and we go out and we investigate popular conspiracy theorists of today. We kept it within the last decade.
Right.
So you won't see John F. Kennedy.
Sure.
You won't see Dr. Martin Luther King or
Give
any
us a
of
few
those.
things we will see from the last decade.
Well, you'll see the one that I like is we will actually go into 9/11. And that, of course, is the one that's off limits. As Americans, we're not allowed to ask questions about 9/11. We're not allowed to investigate it at all. We're simply expected to accept what our government has told us.
What did you learn from it that will surprise the audience?
Well, I've learned from it that the people that actually were there tell a far different story than what the government told us, the people that actually survived it.
Really?
Yeah. And in fact, the guy I interview was the last man out alive. He was brought in front of the 9/11 Commission. He was taken into a private room. He gave his testimony. He was then released, and today there's no record of him even being there. The last man out is the only guy left out of the 9/11 Commission report. Why? Because he tells a different story than the government story.
Right. Let's throw some Minnesota sports questions your way, because clearly a lot going on in the state now. Brett Favre, 40 years old, still doing his thing.
Well, fun story. I was in the L.A. airport at 6 a.m. a couple weeks ago, early in the morning, getting a flight, and I was waiting to get through security, and there were two guys standing there with those beautiful NFL jackets they sell. You've seen them.
Sure.
And they were Green Bay. And so I just leaned over and said calmly, I said, hey, all of us in Minnesota want to thank you for Brett. I said, we appreciate that you sent him over.
Yeah, and I'm sure you made two fast friends with that statement.
Well, you know what their response was? Well, at least he won't last more than 10 years. I said, the way he's throwing, he could be around at 50.
Yeah, is he the MVP this year?
Yes. To me, there's no doubt about it, because Minnesota was a team on the brink, and everybody said about them that they needed a quarterback. They said that was the weakness on the team. You have essentially the identical team you had in the last 2 years, only the addition of Brett Favre. So I think in light of the fact that he's 40 years old, he's got, what, 24 TDs now and only 3 picks?
Yeah, impressive.
Which is, yesterday he passed within 10 yards of his career high. His career high is 402. Yesterday they pulled him with 6 minutes, and he had 392.
Not to mention he never misses a game. I mean, it's just, well, it's pretty impressive stuff.
To me, he is the MVP because of what he's accomplishing and what he means to that team. It is the most valuable player. Yeah. And I think if you truly look at the value of the player, you've got to admit, yes, Peyton Manning's great. Yes, Drew Brees is great. But to the value to their particular team, I think you've got to go with Brett Favre.
Modern-day Renaissance man, Jesse Body Ventura. The show debuts Wednesday night, Tru TV.
Yep.
Sounds fascinating.
And let me add this. You may choose to disbelieve all the conspiracies.
Right.
But if you pay attention and watch this show, it will scare you. I got scared doing it, and I don't scare easy.
You don't look like the kind of guy that would scare easily.
No, but this show actually frightened me doing it.
Governor, thanks.
If it's true, whoa.
Watch out.
Yep.
All right, Wednesday, Tru TV, the show debuts. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. My
Enjoyed
pleasure.
it.